Power is a tool. It's totally neutral. Like a hammer, you can use it to build a house, or you could clobber someone over the head and kill them with it. So power is simply a tool. It's neutral. It is neither good nor bad. It can be used for evil. It can be used for great good. But power is the sense of having control over the immediate environment, over events that are occurring in your life. So to use this, to flip it around to the negative, if you sense in your daily life that you have no ability to influence your children, your spouse, your partner, the colleagues at work, your boss, the people in your company, it's a miserable, miserable feeling. You have no power, you have no control, you have no influence. You can't tell people to do, that you tell people to do something and they don't listen to you, right? Or they do things to you that kind of block your path, and you have no way of getting them to stop this. That feeling of powerlessness is something that human beings cannot endure very well. If you feel powerless for very long, something's going to warp inside of you psychologically. You're going to turn inward, you're going to become resentful, you're going to become angry, you're going to have pools of anger developing inside of you deeper and deeper and deeper, and you're not going to have control over yourself. So power is the first sense of control is over yourself, over your emotions, so that you're not always reacting and getting angry, so that you have a little bit of detachment. So when it comes to those situations where you need to move or influence people like your children, your spouse, your colleagues, your boss, you're able to step back a half step, a full step, a couple steps, and think and go, what is it that will actually move that person in the direction that I want? How can I actually influence them effectively so they don't hate me, so they don't resent me, so that they actually do what is in my interest without maybe even realizing it, or that the interests align in some way? So that is power for me. It begins with yourself. It begins with a sense of detachment from the events happening to you. And it's the ability to strategize and think in each situation in life. This is a move that will gain me a little degree of control over events. You can never, ever have complete control. Life happens, things happen, pandemics happen, black swans happen. You can't control everything, right? But that little bit of margin of control is enough to kind of help you glide through life a little bit more smoothly. But communication has to be strategic, okay? And that's the problem that a lot of people have in this world. They think if they just talk, if they just say, this is what I want, this is what I need, please come and help me, that's communicating. All you're communicating is your insecurity and your needs. True communication is effective, it's strategic. Other people are naturally resistant to helping you or to aligning themselves with your interest. Everybody has their own problems. In the world today, we're all stressed, we're all working too hard, we never have enough time, right? True communication is what I was saying before. You take that step back and you put yourself in the other person's shoes, right? You get out of your own head, because you're so self-involved that you don't realize that your words are just landing nowhere. You get out of your head and you go, I'm dealing with another person. They are not me. They have their own problems, their own wishes, their own issues right now in the present, right? What is that? What is it that is going on in their head, in their world? Sometimes you have to do some research. Sometimes maybe you know them well enough, maybe you don't know them at all, but you have to figure that out. It's a puzzle. Once you figure out their side, not your side, what they want, what they need, now you have some power to craft what you say to actually influence them, to appeal to their self-interest, which is one of the laws of power, one of the most powerful laws of all, right? So if I say something and I'm trying to influence, I'm trying to move them like on a chessboard in my direction, right? If I say something that appeals to their self-interest while it's also helping me, their eyes will light up, all those defenses that they have will start to go down. So communication is absolutely worthless unless it's strategic. And always say less than necessary is important because the natural tendency for a human being without self-control is just to spew words, just like verbal diarrhea. This is, my problems, my life. This is what's going on with me. This is what I need, blah, 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 right? Just shut up, talk less, and think more about what the other person needs and craft your communication strategically. People are so political. Their egos are involved in everything. You can see their egos as they walk past you, right? I would notice in the office that there was these hierarchies. There was the boss, and you could just see this massive ego walking back and forth. Then there were all the other smaller little people working right under him and their egos. And there was little me in the corner as a copy editor, little tiny, tiny little ego. But that's what mattered. That's what made things run, was how well you impressed him, how you talked to the boss, in this case, Jan Wenner. And I thought, this is silly, but this is the real world. And you have to take the real world seriously. You have to succeed in the real world. So the book came from deep pools of pain from my own mistakes and from a deep desire to help other people, because I feel it's the source of a lot of depression and misery in life. You say something or you do something thinking that you're on the right track, it's going to help you, and the next thing you know, you're fired or you're demoted. You don't know why. I felt, I see people around me having these problems. So those are the two strands of the book: a deep desire to help people and a realization that the world is political, full of egos, and that mistakes are very costly and painful, and I made plenty of them. But what's healing and liberating is to finally have that little light turned on inside of your brain that this is how the world works. I didn't realize that. I thought what mattered was just being myself. I thought that I could just do my job, say the things that I like, dress the way that I like to dress, just be myself, and it was enough. And no, I'm suffering from it. And just seeing that little switch go on in your brain that no, the game is different. It's played differently. There are rules to this game. You can't just come in and play poker and just do whatever you want. There are rules for poker. There are rules for chess. You don't know the rules. You're just playing terribly and you're suffering. And just that little bit of switch inside going, maybe I'm entering this game. Maybe I'm from the wrong angle. Maybe I'm being too selfish, egotistical. I'm too self-absorbed. And I'm not thinking enough about the players in this game. That little switch of your perspective, of how you look at it, can be deeply healing and enlightening, because it's not natural to us. As I said, it wasn't natural to me. A lot of people who, like myself, enter the work world a little bit innocent and a little bit on the naive side. Like, if people are really good at the manipulation game, if they know the 48 laws of power, if they know how to seduce you, how to wrap their words and make you seem like they're just wonderful, and that they're out for your best interest, if they're really good at it, you won't realize it until it's too late. What I tell people is, you need to identify these people before they enter your life or before you start listening to them. You need to be able to identify the manipulative types before they start charming you, before they start enchanting you, before they start wrapping you up in their dramas. Because if you fall into that trap, it's going to probably be too late. Most people aren't such good manipulators. And you can sense it, right? They're very passive aggressive. They say things that they want to get from you, but there's a subtext involved, right? And a lot of the bad manipulators, you can feel it. You have an intuitive sense. You can understand it. There's something in their body language, something in how they speak. It doesn't seem sincere. But the main thing is to be able to sense people's character, to be able to identify the types of people out there. As I said, there's some people out there who are brilliant at the manipulation game, for whatever reason. Not because maybe necessarily they read my book, but because it's in their DNA. They're just naturally good at it, right? People who are very political, okay? So your task is to be able to see through these people. Appearances matter so much in this power game. How you present yourself, how people see you. Act like a king to be treated like a king, right? Recreate yourself. Your appearances is what people are judging you by, right? So at the same time, you have to control your appearances so people see you as powerful, but you have to see like a laser through other people's masks, through other people's games that they're playing, through the appearances they're trying to create. So the great manipulators out there, right? They have signs. They're not perfect. They give little clues, little crumbs that reveal that they're trying to play this kind of game on you. And that's why I wrote The Laws of Human Nature, where I give you tools for identifying the great narcissists out there. Because most of the master manipulators are toxic narcissists, and you have to be able to identify them before they enter your life. How to identify people who are full of envy. They are a very dangerous type. They'll become your best friend in order to hurt you, to sabotage you, because they feel envious. You have to identify them before they get into your life, on and on and on down the line. So that's sort of my advice. There's no simple answer how to identify a manipulator. It's in their character, it's in their body language, it's the little signs that they give out, and you have to be able to see through people's masks and not always take appearances for reality. Creating compelling spectacles, one of the laws, is creating something that draws a lot of attention, right? Which is what a lot of life and social media involves. Now you can say in some ways it's manipulation, but it's also just trying to please people, just trying to bring pleasure into the world, just trying to create a spectacle that attracts attention. I don't necessarily see every law in there about manipulation. The people who are really, really nasty and evil at the game of power, and they're out there. I would say maybe 3 to 5% of the population would be like that. Maybe I'm overestimating the number. You don't really need a book like The 48 Laws of Power, right? They've been learning this from a very early age. They probably had troubled childhoods. I don't want to get too deep into the psychology of that, but they've been wounded in their childhood, right? And they learn from the age of 6 or 7 or 8. This is how you get people. This is how you string people along. This is how you get attention. This is how you be dramatic. This is what you say. This is how you get mommy and daddy to pay attention to me. This is how, you get the teacher to like me. They've learned this step by step at an early age. By the time they enter the work world in 22, they've been doing this in high school. They've been doing it at college or wherever. They're getting better and better at it. Then this book comes along, The 48 Laws of Power. Well, they don't need to read that. If they read it, it's just going to confirm the things that they've kind of intuitively understood. Your parents don't tell you, your teachers, your parents in your schools don't tell you that there are people out there who are manipulative, that the world can't be political, that everyone out there has egos. Nobody teaches you this. All of the books are so sweet and sugary, telling you self-help books, just cooperate. This is how to be a good human being. And you enter the work world and nobody prepared you for the slap that you have from people being so nasty and political and ego-ridden. Nobody taught me this. Being emotional isn't masculinity. Masculinity is self-control, I'm afraid. Being masculine is being able to step back and go, this isn't necessarily the right thing to do. I have to think about it. I have to do something that's more productive, that's positive. I have to criticize myself sometimes.
Weak people can't criticize themselves. So if you're listening to me, at least be willing to say that maybe some of my ideas are wrong. My ideas and your ideas, right? That to me is strength. That to me is a masculine virtue. Being able to criticize your own side and not get always so emotional and overheated. Stupidity is the inability to think of the consequences of your actions, to think that you are certain that you know the answers, to take action based on this certainty, but to not think of steps 3, 4, and 5 that are going to happen as a result. We're getting a lot of that kind of adolescent mentality. I'm going to take this action because it's fierce, it's angry, it's going to solve things. But the consequences down the road, 5 years from now, are going to be horrific. That is human stupidity. It's good not to think in such concrete terms of, this is who I am, to place labels on it. You're much more than that, right? There's something else about who you are, right? You have a soul. I know that's an old-fashioned concept, but I believe that people have a soul. And it can be their character, their traits that they have, that they have when they were born. It's what makes them who they are. It's their sense of dignity that they return to that self. But I can't put a label on it. I can't put a word on it. I can't say it's being a lawyer, being white, black, left, right, or whatever. If we only had some distance, we only realized that we all come from the same roots, that there really is no such a thing as an ethnicity, that we all come from the same human beings, that it's all relative, that all the cultures are related, that all human beings are interrelated. It's such a simplistic notion, but it kind of destroys all of our separations, all our partisanship, all of our niggly little sense of identity. I don't get my identity from being from California or Los Angeles or being Jewish or being American. I get it from being a human being with this incredible, vast history. Nobody else is going to follow me in this. I know it's just me. It's my wish. And if human beings in 100 years could believe that, it would be so beneficial for us in some way. It would mean we all have to protect this planet so that we can give it to our children, that, climate change affects all of us, that we're all in this together.